place on earth.
Screamboat.
Screamboat, directed by Stephen Lamorte and starring David Howard Thornton. A late-night ferry ride in New York City becomes a struggle for survival when a seemingly harmless mouse transforms into a dangerous monster.
Meet Steamboat Willie. He's wacky, he's wicked, and he's whistling his way into your heart.
Hey there, whoa there, it's Rogue here. As someone who loves Disney and horror, I was very excited to watch Screamboat. Screamboat is a horror movie that reimagines Steamboat Willie. Steamboat Willie is the first iteration of Mickey Mouse, and it entered the public domain last year. Now we have Screamboat, and I was very excited for this movie. I was actually the only one in the theater for this movie, and I'm glad because I was laughing a lot. This is going to be a spoiler review. Don't say I didn't warn ya. Let's start with the positives.
Meet Steamboat Willie. He's wacky, he's wicked, and he's whistling his way into your heart.
David Howard Thornton as Steamboat Willie, aka Screamboat, is absolutely hilarious. He is the best part about this movie, and it is always a good thing when your titular character is the best part of the movie. I really enjoyed David Howard Thornton's voice performance. I thought it was a perfect dark twist on the Mickey Mouse voice, especially the laugh. I think the laugh was absolutely perfect. Screamboat doesn't really talk, but he does make noises and he does laugh and whistle. I think David Howard Thornton's voice performance is great. The laugh is absolutely perfect. It is Mickey Mouse mixed with evil Elmo.
He's wicked, and he's whistling his way into your heart.
Screamboat also has this really fun thing of whistling before he's going to kill someone. And each song that he whistles is different depending on the person he's about to kill. Which, of course, is a reference to Steamboat Willie whistling. It's a lot of fun. The songs that he whistles are songs that pretty much everyone is going to know. Another positive, I think, is how hilarious this movie is. I was laughing so hard that my stomach was hurting, and I had to calm myself down so I wouldn't laugh so much because I was literally in pain. There are lots of funny moments, but the funniest moment is when Screamboat is walking through an area of the ferry that has a concession stand. And Screamboat goes up to the menu board, and on the menu board are items that are iconic to the Disney parks. So for the churro, it's listed as $6.99, and Screamboat flips the 6 to raise the price to $9.99. It was so funny. Oh, it was so funny. I was losing it in the theater.
We're all going to die.
What the fuck are you?
I am happy to say that Carnage Candy is present. I enjoyed the kills so much in this movie that I decided I'm going to count down my top 3 kills. So starting with number 3, the captain.
And he's whistling his way into your heart. Literally.
Oh!
Technically, there are 3 captains in this movie because Screamboat keeps killing them. So there's basically a different captain for each act of the movie. The first captain has the best death out of the three. He gets this really cool decapitation. Nothing we haven't seen before, but he gets a piano wire and wraps it around the captain's neck, and he begins to saw off his head. And while he's doing that, he's whistling. As I mentioned, each song that Screamboat whistles during the kill is unique for each. So since he's decapitating the captain, Screamboat is whistling Pop Goes the Weasel. It's a lot of fun, and as Screamboat is sawing off the captain's head, blood is just spraying all over. It is not CGI blood. I'm so glad that the kills are practical. Once the captain's head is off, then Screamboat uses the body as a stepping stool. Now Screamboat is at the helm of the ferry, and he begins to steer while he's whistling the Steamboat Willie song.
And he's whistling his way into your heart.
Which, of course, is the horror recreation of the iconic Steamboat Willie. And it's just a lot of fun. This kill is a lot of fun. Number 2, the propeller death.
Welcome aboard to Staten Island Ferry.
This boat is cursed. We're all going to die. What the fuck are you?
The first of several cops to die gets a death by propeller, which I think is a lot of fun considering this movie takes place on a ferry and it is the horror twist of Steamboat Willie. The scene starts with the cop walking around the deck. Screamboat toys with him a little bit and then begins to bludgeon him with a hammer, and he breaks his hand in the process.
What the fuck are you?
The practical work is not the best, but it's good enough in this scene. The cop cannot walk, so he attempts to drag himself across the floor away from Screamboat. This mighty mouse must have super strength, because next we see Screamboat holding the cop by his ankles, dangling him off the back of the ferry, and he puts the cop's face into the propeller. The cop gets beat up pretty badly by the propeller, and when Screamboat pulls the cop's body back up onto the deck, he's just a bloody stump. And number 1, death by blowjob.
We're all going to die.
A passenger runs up to a cop and tells him that his help is needed. She quickly leads him to a private area. The room is empty, so the cop turns around, and to his surprise, the woman has removed her top. It's something straight out of an adult film. Then the woman starts to give the cop a blowjob. Screamboat is watching from nearby, and it's so funny because Screamboat doesn't try to kill them until the cop looks over and notices him. It's so funny. Screamboat was just watching. Screamboat then jumps down and cuts off the cop's penis. I can't remember if Screamboat stabs him or not, but the guy definitely dies of blood loss because his dick got cut off. The woman backs up against a wall and the dick is still in her mouth. She spits it out right before Screamboat kills her, and the dick actually comes back later in the movie. Right before Screamboat kills the second captain, he hands him a rag, and inside the rag is the dick, and it falls out of the rag onto the captain's face. So those are my top 3 kills of the movie, but there's also other deaths that I really enjoyed, like the characters that represent the Disney princesses were a lot of fun to watch die.
Cindy, Bella, Jazzy, Ariana, and Rory.
Let's get this jungle cruise going!
Their names and outfits are heavily inspired by the more popular Disney princesses. From left to right, we have Sleeping Beauty, Belle, Cinderella, Ariel, and Jasmine.
Whatever the people are.
The main girl we're following throughout the movie is inspired by Minnie Mouse. She has a bag that is the same print as Minnie's dress. During the propeller death, when Screamboat is holding the cop by the ankles over the edge of the ferry, the main girl is watching from the deck above, and when Screamboat sees her, he instantly falls in love, and he sees hearts around her, anatomically correct hearts.
All aboard the Staten Island Ferry, Willie's world of mischief and mayhem.
I really like that the setting for this movie is in New York. That is a location that I've always really enjoyed watching slashers take place in. There's also a fun death scene involving a passenger dressed as Lady Liberty. There's several scenes where you can see the New York skyline in the background, and I really enjoyed that. In the third act is when we learn more about Screamboat's origin. It's a tragic origin story with a captain named Walt D.
I heard stories about a monster that lurked in the underbelly of the ferry. Steamboat Willie.
The animation in this scene is absolutely incredible. They were really pushing it when it came to the legalities. So what I'm playing on screen right now is the 4K remaster of Steamboat Willie. And what we see in Screamboat is very, very similar to this. In Screamboat's origin story, Walt D goes overboard and is lost at sea. Then Screamboat is locked inside of a hatch. So during the opening scene, we see two ferry workers in the bottom of the ferry, and they open this hatch, and that is how Screamboat is released.
I said we forced his ass overboard.
Our world is fucked.
In the third act, it's revealed that one of the two ferry workers from the opening scene actually survived, and she is now helping Screamboat. So she represents Disney adults because she absolutely is infatuated with Screamboat. She's wearing a jacket with his logo on the back, and she's also wearing a helmet with ears. You know, ears like what you wear when you go to the Disney parks. Having this ferry worker be a Disney adult is absolutely hilarious. My abs were hurting by the third act. This movie is so funny. Once she wasn't useful anymore, Screamboat kills her. There are so many Disney references in this film that you almost have to be a Disney adult to catch everything. There is so much. From the character names, their outfits, the signs on the wall, the dialogue. I mean, absolutely everything. Just about every single scene has a Disney reference.
Let's get this jungle cruise going! Whatever the people are.
It is a small world after all.
As I mentioned, there is some really nice animation during Screamboat's origin story, and that same animation is used for the film's end credits, and it just looks incredible. I mean, they are really pushing it with the legalities because the animation looks so similar. During the end credits, they are also using Disney font, and it just looks so good. I mean, the animation in Screamboat is probably the best quality that this film has. And my final positive for Screamboat is going to be a mid-credit scene because we see Screamboat is reunited with Minnie Mouse. We only see the character from behind, but it's obvious by the clothing that it's supposed to be Minnie. So I did have a lot of positive things to say about Screamboat, but it's not all good. So now let's jump into the mix.
All gonna die.
You said that last week and the week before.
That's gonna make one fucked up cartoon someday.
The human characters just aren't very interesting, and the acting ranges from just barely good enough to really, really bad. Honestly, Screamboat could have killed all of these characters and I wouldn't have felt any type of way. Out of all the human characters, I did like the main girl who represents Minnie Mouse. Her name is Allison Patel, and she does the best with what she's given, but she's not really given a lot. There's also this forced romance between the main girl and the third captain. I really just did not care. Speaking of the third captain, he and another character in this movie look so much alike that I was actually getting confused on who is who. Both of them look very similar and they both have a bunch of tattoos on them. And at a certain point in the film, the only way I could tell the difference between the two was because the third captain has a neck tattoo. There's a post-credit scene that reveals the third captain actually survived. It's also loosely implied that they are brothers in that scene. So I guess that would explain why they looked alike. But again, I really did not care about the human characters in this movie. So whatever. Speaking of characters I really didn't care about, there was an EMT on board the ferry who really didn't do much, but they kept treating her as if she's going to be important, but that never happened.
We're all gonna die.
You said that last week and the week before.
I do really like her hair though. I kept thinking to myself that the color and the cut of her hair is great.
That's gonna make one fucked up cartoon someday.
There are several cops that Screamboat kills on this ferry, and a few of them just randomly spawn in to die. Like, we never see them. They just randomly spawn into the movie. And jumping into the negatives now.
Willie's World of Mischief and Mayhem.
While Screamboat is the best part about this film, I do feel like the character design just wasn't the greatest. I didn't really like the look of this suit. It didn't look bad, but it also just didn't look good enough. I'm not sure how to explain it. That is how I would explain most of the practical work in this film. Like, it was good enough, but it wasn't good. There was also 2 death scenes that didn't look very good. The first being the mass electrocution scene. The electricity bolts just don't look very good. And also, I didn't like it because there were certain characters on the ferry that I thought it would have been better to give them their own individual death scene instead of having them a part of the mass electrocution. I also didn't like Cinderella's death scene just because it's hard to see what is happening in this scene. Screamboat has a harpoon. I'm not sure if the way this was filmed or the way this was edited together is the problem, but I lose reference to where Screamboat is, and I'm not sure how he ended up getting Cinderella in the end. Like, it's hard to understand what's happening in that scene. I know that he used the harpoon and her guts come out, but I'm not exactly sure what happened there.
Welcome aboard the Staten Island Ferry.
This boat is cursed. We're all gonna die.
They use a miniature ferry boat for the exterior shots, and it just looks really bad. It was clearly a miniature in some sort of pool, and it just did not look very good. The use of green screen to make Screamboat small in comparison to his surroundings was laughably bad in several scenes. It's a little charming, but it is very bad. This film also did not stick the landing for me. I didn't like the way it ended. Our main girl dresses up similar to Minnie Mouse, and she tricks Screamboat. She's hanging off of the side of the ferry, and then Screamboat decides to save her, and then she stabs him with scissors, and he goes overboard. The reason our main girl dresses up similar to Minnie Mouse is because in the third act, it's revealed that in Screamboat's origin story, it wasn't only Walt D that went overboard, it was also Screamboat's lover that went overboard. It just wasn't a very satisfying ending for the movie. And my final negative for the film is going to be pacing issues. This film does slightly overstay its welcome, and I think they could have trimmed out 10 to 15 minutes just to make this a more enjoyable watch.
I heard stories about a monster that lurked in the underbelly of the ferry. Steamboat Willie.
Overall, I had a good time with Screamboat. I laughed until it hurt. I thought there were several deaths that were a lot of fun. I love the idea of a horror Steamboat Willie. And I think this movie is so bad, it's good. I'll probably buy this on Blu-ray.
Willie's World? It's the happiest place on earth.
I am going to give Screamboat a Rogue Reviews So Bad It's Good 6.5 out of 10.
It is a small world after all.
Join my Rogues Gallery by clicking the subscribe button. A big thank you to everyone who made it to the end of the video. Give this video a like and leave a comment down below to show your support. And follow me on Instagram at Alexis Has Gone Rogue.